like to call the regular meeting of the Stuart City Commission to order on June 8th, 2026 at 4 p.m. Mary, roll call.
Mayor Reed,
Here.
Commissioner Clark. Here. Commissioner Giobi.
Here.
Commissioner Rich.
Here. And we have an invocation from Chaplain Edward Skiba from the City of Stuart Police Department, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, city council members, and most importantly, the citizens of Stuart, I thank you for allowing me to come and invite the presence of God into this meeting. I got to thinking on my way here about some of the things I've done as a chaplain, and I was up in Charleston riding with an officer, and a lady went whipping around us, and another guy pulled in front of her, and she reached out the window and gave him a one-finger salute. And the officer I was riding with said, "That's not right," and he pulled her over. I said, "What's he pulling her over for?" He jumped out, went up to her, he said, "All right, out of the car, hands against the car." And I said, "What's going on?" He said, "Look at the back bumper. It says, 'I love Jesus.' There's a big silver cross. Follow me to the downtown community church." He said, "After she did that, I figured she stole the car." Let's go before the Lord. Our God and our Father, great creator of the universe, you give us humor to keep us cheerful. Your word says a merry heart doeth good like a medicine, and we try to laugh whenever we can. Sometimes life overcomes us. Thank you, Lord, that you give us leadership that can help guide us through these difficult times. I thank you for this city council and for the men and women that you raise up to put their heads above the crowd, and sometimes take the tomatoes that are thrown at them, and many times take the accolades. They represent each one of us, Lord. And I ask you to be here in this presence, to give them your wisdom, your guidance, your understanding, so that all the issues that come before them can be done in accordance with your will. I thank you and praise you for this wonderful town of Stuart and for Martin County and for all that you do for us here. You make this small place, this gem, a shining light in the darkness, and we thank you for letting us be part of it. Bless us now in what we're about to do and be with us. In Jesus' name I pray. Please join me now in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated.
Next up, we have the Arts Moment. Brett McCarron with the art presentation.
Oh, you have a mic.
Yes. Can you hear me? Am I okay? Okay. My name's Brent McCarron. I'm a 38-year living here in Martin County from Indianapolis originally. I've been given I got my degree in Purdue University in visual design, and I came down here to become an artist because I felt I was pretty good at it. Anyway, I was asked here by Eula Clark and Mary to talk about the arts in Martin County and opportunities that I've had being part of it. Forgive me, I just had eye surgery, so I'm having I thought I brought examples of my work, my artwork, and murals that I've created together with my son and crime, Ami Kroll, my son Benjamin. Ami is also an accomplished jazz singer, and she and I play drums, and she and I will be performing at the Riverwalk in September 6th this year. That's the musical part of the arts. Artistically, I'm currently working with the Elliott Museum, thanks to Deborah Duvall and Rob Steele, where I've painted murals, restored artwork, restored sculptures, created a 4-foot Fabergé egg for their display. I'm also on my 13th year as a scenic artist at where I build sets, props, and costumes for Jennifer Yormack and Peter Jones at Starstruck Children's Theater right down the road, where we will be performing The Lion King. You must have to come see it. This is part of it. So. Anyway, that's just a sample. I wanted to step into here's a larger image of my award-winning Arts Fest piece that I got involved with the Martin Arts. I actually won in 2019. My Ami and I just painted this one at Cedar Point of the dolphins. We have turtle driveways that we've been opportunity. People just talk to people and they find us, and I get to paint all these beautiful pieces at people's homes and in businesses. A baby mural in St. Lucie West. This is to show you the scale of the recent House of Refuge at the Elliott Museum. And this is my grandson to show scale of my art that I've done. The last piece, try to make it quick. I was asked to paint a 27-foot limousine to look like an alligator for a customer in Okeechobee to take his clients out to airboat rides and out there. I was nominated for a Marty Award through the Martin County for my set for Into the Woods at Starstruck. Some of my murals glow in the dark, so I was trying to give you a representation of that. Circa 69, right over in Jensen Beach, I did with friends from Alchemy and Art. I hire them, they hire me, so it's a big family of art. And this one, the last one, is the Shark Shack Suites in Palm City. I just showed you a sample, but it's big and it's got sharks fishing for humans with ice cream cones. Anyway, I've been lucky enough to be published in Stuart Magazine for my murals. Again, for when I did this House of Refuge in 2023, and Martin Arts for winning the Arts Fest. I was also published in the paper for winning $10,000 in first prize for my Halloween costumes. So in doing the costumes, that's how I got to do Starstruck. Finally, I'd like to mention Anthony Oliveri and his River Creek Walk Art District in first Fridays of the month. And he and I were planning on trying to get a mural on the Johnson Avenue 150-foot wall across from 901 Hub and Wawa. I want to do that one. And finally, if I ever get the opportunity, my vision for the city of Stuart would be to build a giant sculpture from US 1 down Colorado to downtown Stuart of leaping sailfish with scattered kinetic fish jumping off the sides that you can drive your cars under, to put us as the destination, as the world sailfish capital of the world. So anyway, thank you for your time. Thank you, Eula. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you very much. Thank you very
See my stuff at bmccarronart.com, and there's a couple cards outside if you want.
Brent, we're gonna have to fix your certificate of appreciation though, because they wrote Brett on it. But we'll get you a new one then for Brent.
Take a picture.
I'll get a picture though.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Brent, keep it up. We're going to take a picture. Thank you so much. Thanks, Jim.
Next, we have proclamations, and we have Garden Week, and the recipient would be Mary Neal, President of Garden Club of Stuart. Lee, if you could read the proclamation for us.
Absolutely. Whereas gardeners have a passion for nurturing the beauty and resources of the earth through the planting of seeds, the care of all plants, and the riches of their efforts, gardeners seek to add beauty, splendor, fragrance, and nutrition to our lives through the growing of foliage, flowers, herbs, and vegetables. And whereas gardeners advocate the importance of all creatures, large and small, that share our world and their roles in a balanced and productive ecology, gardeners work to preserve our country's traditional spirit of independence and initiative through innovation and hard work. And whereas gardening furnishes a challenging and productive activity for our citizens, for those just learning, as well as those having years of experience. Gardening promotes a healthy lifestyle that lasts a lifetime, helps reduce stress from other areas of our life, teaches the rewards that can come from diligent efforts, and whereas gardening enables members of garden clubs across the nation and the world to make a world of difference in the communities where they reside and work. Now, therefore, I, Sean Reed, Mayor of the City of Stuart, Florida, do hereby proclaim June 7th through the 13th, 2026 as Garden Week.
Mary Neal, did you have any comments for us, or did you want to? Yes.
Good afternoon. I'm Mary Neal, President of Stuart Garden Club. And these fine ladies in pink are members of our club. And I especially want to introduce Linda Cerubi, who is our chairman for National Garden Week. I want to thank Mayor Reed and the commissioners for honoring the Garden Club of Stuart with a proclamation for National Garden Week. Gardeners and garden clubs throughout the country take this time to celebrate the art of nurturing and beautifying our environment through several select activities to bring about awareness of this great gift. Here in Stuart, we have placed a creative arrangement in each of our libraries and include education as to what plant material is used, what National Garden Week entails, information on gardening, and how and why to participate in garden clubs. Photos of these arrangements can be found on Facebook under the Garden Club of Stuart, with links to what other clubs in the country have done for this event. The mission of the Garden Club of Stuart has been and always will be to educate the public about the various aspects and rewards of gardening, including conservation, community pride, natural resources, and civic beautification. We believe gardening envelops our whole being. Therefore, our theme is mental, physical, and emotional health through gardening. Thank you.
Did you want to take a photo with everyone that's in attendance? Oh, yes.
You're all in. Take care. Chrissy. Take care.
The next proclamation we have is for Juneteenth, Freedom Day, June 19th, 2026. The recipient would be Nina Dooley, President of Afro-American Citizens of East Stuart. Lee, if you could read the proclamation.
Whereas Juneteenth is the oldest known celebration commemorating the abolition of slavery in the United States and the emancipation of African American slaves, and celebrates the successes gained through education and greater opportunity. And whereas Union soldiers landed at Galveston, Texas on June 19th, 1865, with news that the war had ended and the enslaved were now free. On that first Juneteenth, the people of Texas were read General Order Number 3, which stated, "The people of Texas are informed that in accordance with a proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free." And whereas the first Juneteenth celebration was a time for reassurance, prayer, and the gathering of family members, today Juneteenth continues to grow with communities and organizations throughout the country. Numerous local and national Juneteenth organizations have arisen alongside older organizations with the common mission of promoting and cultivating knowledge and appreciation of African American history and culture, while encouraging continuous self-development and respect for all people and cultures. Whereas on a larger scale, a celebration of Juneteenth reminds each of us of the precious promises of freedom, equality, and opportunity, which are the core of the American dream. Now therefore, I, Sean Reed, Mayor of the City of Stuart, do hereby proclaim June 19, 2026 as Juneteenth Freedom Day.
Nina.
Nina, did you have any words?
The party coming up.
Thank you to Mayor Reed and the commissioners for this proclamations. My name is Nina Dooley. I'm the president of ACES here in East Stewart. And I would like to thank the city for partnering with us once again for this wonderful event. We are hosting our third annual Miss June Junior Teen Pageant. It's going to be at the Boys and Girls Club on June 20th from 7 to 9. I encourage everyone to come out and take a look at these wonderful kids, young women, and their talents. And so I would like to also thank you guys for this partnership once again.
And I'll be a judge.
And Eula's a judge. Yes, she is, along with two others. She will be a judge at the event. So again, thank you to the city of Stuart.
You're welcome, Nina. Thank you.
You were judge last year?
Been a judge for the last couple of years. I gave it up to Kristen. I gave it up to Kristen Lee one year. Or Seroptimus. I wasn't here.
Next up, we have service awards from the police department, and I'm going to have Chief Z introduce his personnel from the police department.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'd like to take a moment to call up the following members. I'll make a note that Lieutenant Brian Basio was scheduled to be here to be recognized for his 15 years of service with the Stuart Police Department, but he was approved for training late last week, and there was an opening in a training class, so he's had to attend that and can't be here today. So I'd like to call up to the front of the room here, Detective Kenneth Leadham, back here in the corner. Kenneth, if you just come up to the front here. Detective David Jacobson. K-9 Officer Chris Heitfeld. And Officer Danielle Matucci. So if I could just share briefly that Ken Leadham has been with the Stuart Police Department for 15 years, and he currently serves as our evidence and crime scene detective assigned to the Criminal Investigations Unit. Ken has prior law enforcement experience with the St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office prior to joining Stuart PD 15 years ago, and he also serves with the Florida State Guard, where he is Ken, I apologize for not giving you the proper credit, Lieutenant Commander with the Florida State Guard. And we have a very good partnership with the Florida State Guard. They help supply additional resources for our 4th of July event and the Christmas parade every December. So the last 3 years, I think they've sent as many as 50 Florida Guardsmen to Stuart to help us with security and ensuring a safe environment for our community event. Detective David Jacobson is also a 15-year veteran of the Stuart Police Department. He's currently assigned to the Detective Bureau, and he normally works any type of case that's given to him, from a theft to a credit card fraud to an elder fraud or an occasional violent crime like a shooting or something more serious. He does Jake stuff when it comes to looking, and his nickname is Jake. He does Jake stuff when it comes to looking into the weird and unique cases and has an ability to find those silver linings in the evidence and information. So he does a good job with his service for the police department. He's been with the Stuart Police Department for 17 and a half years total, 15 of it as a full-time police officer. Before that, he was part-time. K-9 Officer Chris Heitfeld, as you see him here, he's assigned to patrol with his K-9 partner Jerry for the last 3 years, roughly. They work the night shift from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., so he's one of the crew that are out there ensuring our safety for the overnight patrol hours. Chris has been with us 15 years, and prior to that, he was with the Port St. Lucie Police Department for a year and a half before coming to Stuart. And then we have, last but not least, we have Danielle Matucci. She is currently assigned to our traffic unit with just over a year and a half in service as a police officer. Prior to that, she served as a dispatcher in our communications center for 3.5 years. So Danielle's been with the police department for 5 years total, or with the city, and serves a great role now in our new traffic unit. So if you would just help me congratulate them on their service. Mayor, thank you for allowing me to recognize them in that fashion.
Chief picture. Where's Jerry?
Ever recognize a dog?
Where's Jerry?
Do dogs ever get recognition? Jerry has to put up with him.
Get up closer. Mr. Needham. Thanks. Good job, thank you. Thanks.
Next, for service awards, we have Deborah Smith with 15 years of services with Human Resources.
Good evening. I'm accepting on Debbie's behalf. She had a scheduling conflict and regrets not being here. Debbie has actually been with us for 20 years. She spent 5 years part-time status as well in the police department in part. So we celebrate the 15 full and the 5, and she's sorry she couldn't be here tonight. So thank you on her behalf.
Thank you, Roz. Next, we have Bobby Holliday with 15 years of services from Utilities and Engineering. Bobby will not be attending, but we'll still give him a round of applause. Next, we have Jose Nito with 5 years of service from Utilities and Engineering.
Good job. Good job, son. Hold on, Joe.
Go ahead, and you can get in the picture if you want.
Can you come into the picture? You come into the picture.
There you go.
One more. All right, take care. Good job.
Next, we have Michael Redstone with 5 years of community services.
Made it through.
Thank you, Mike.
Next, for service award, we have Suzanne Malecki with 5 years of service with the Deputy City Clerk.
Suzanne. How many years?
Family We
like
got
a
the-
mini me.
Kids. How many years?
5.
That's all? Wow.
Good job. Say hello to your sister. Thank you, sister. Look at him. He looks like his mother. He said,
No speech?
no.
Okay.
Speech.
For the next service award, we have Brian Shing with 5 years of services for utilities and engineering.
Gotta give a speech. Good job. Yes, come on, family. Come on.
Whoa, and the baby.
Cameras. Everybody's on this side. Good job. Hold on, one more. Good job. Take care, Brian.
He's Jerry.
Oh, we got Jerry.
Oh, there he is.
Jerry.
Good boy. Good boy.
Time to sit now.
Mayor, you want that picture?
Sit. Sit.
He's good.
He's good.
Is he at the airport?
He's all excited now. Good boy, Jerry.
Finally, somebody gave a speech.
You go, Jerry.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. That's his canine partner, Jerry. He patrols with Chris. When Chris is out in the patrol car, his partner is right with him. So very successful these last few weeks, working the night shift, sniffing out drugs, narcotics, specifically some cocaine and other hard drugs that have been found up in the Jensen Beach area, helping out the county with a sniff here and there. So we have one other canine, that's Ara, with Officer Chase Dorman. He works on the other night shift. But these dogs are a vital tool for us. So thank you, Chris.
Thank you,
Good boy,
Chris. Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you. The dog. He's gonna do his doggy thing.
Next up, we have comments by city commissioners. Commissioner Rich?
So on Friday evening, late Friday afternoon, I sit on the board of directors for the Florida League of Cities, on the big board, on the corporate board. So the Florida League of Cities represents 411 different municipalities. And just a few days before, some of you may be aware, the legislature has passed some amendments which pose an existential threat to many of these communities. It was the most tense atmosphere I've been in a long, long time. We will be discussing this in the future between now and the election. I asked our city manager for some preliminary figures when I was speaking to Senator Harrell and Representative Oberdorf and Representative Snyder. Nobody's quite sure of the numbers, but the city may be between $1.5 and $3.5 million reduction in revenues, which is not existential, but is serious. The joke going around was that Florida will stop being the free state and we will become the fee state, because all these parks and beach parking areas and all these services that we provide, we're going to have to find a way to pay for them somehow, and it's probably going to be through fees. So I don't need to be alarmist, but we're very concerned. The league is going to fight this very hard, and hopefully we obtain the result that we need to keep Stuart functioning properly and at the high level of service that we're all used to, and that we can retain our staff, which is so important because the staff works for you. They don't work for us. They work for the citizens. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You're welcome. Just for clarification, was it 2.5 or 3.5 on the high end of the range?
3.5.
Okay, because I thought it was 2.5. That's, at least that's what I was emailed.
That's what I read too.
Well,
Unless, yeah, maybe you guys were saying something different. But regardless, moving on, Commissioner Giobbe.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. As always, it's great to see everyone here. And on a positive note for our city, it really is in the hands of the voters. So it's really your decision to decide whether to go with this. You know, just because Tallahassee put it out doesn't mean you have to vote for it. And we will certainly at the city level be working to work all those numbers and work to the best of the city, what's best for the people in the city. And I want to thank all the people who sent me emails, and one sent a letter, and the people who are here today supporting one of the items on the agenda, which would be chickens. So just want to say thank you very much for your support. That's all. Thank you.
Commissioner Clark.
Thank you so much. I just want to say that I'm really appreciative. This was one of the days when I saw the arts moment come together, because, you know, sometimes we have readings or dance or poetry or singing, and to see the breadth and depth of Mr. McCarron's community involvement, art involvement, his family's involvement, it really shows how important the arts is to his life and his well-being, as well as to our community. And I just want to thank him, and I'm glad that he mentioned the Crete District. There are people who are dedicating their whole lives, their whole businesses to improving that area and making it a destination. And I'm glad that you mentioned that about a destination plan, so we can do some art planning for Stuart. So it's long-term and it's a good idea, and I'm hope that we'll continue to hear from you and to work with you and to work with others in the community. Stuart is A-R-T in Stuart, and we really mean it, and I really appreciate your participating in the arts moment today. And for all the others in Stuart who really work on that, I think it is so important, and that's a good thing. Kids are out for the summer in school, out of school, and they need so many things to keep them occupied, and I think the arts is a big thing, and I hope that those who have opportunities to support children during the summer will support them with any type of assistance to some type of art or music program. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Clark. Moving on to comments by City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. I was contacted by our audit team, who then shared some information. They've adjusted the audit schedule for fiscal year 25 to be done no later than August 31st, according to their letter. When I found out this information, I met with the managing partner, and I met with the field auditor, and just to establish a relationship and to ensure that they knew how to get a hold of me, and to ensure that we were providing everything that needed to be done. They attributed the adjustment to the calendar due to the turnover in the finance department, and I accepted that explanation, and I wasn't happy about it, because I believe an audit should be done on time, and it will be done on time in the future. So just establish that relationship and made sure that they have everything that they need to conclude the audit for fiscal year 25, and they assured me they do. So that'll begin next week. On a positive note, not that that wasn't positive, because we're always moving forward, I have had in my queue some of what are called What's Good, and What's Good turned over by the interim city manager some time ago, and I apologize for the delay, but Jim Miner, a battalion chief with our fire department, he accomplished getting a Master of Public Administration, and that was done some time ago, a couple months ago, but I wanted to make sure that we're pointing things out and reporting to you and to the public that our staff is always, on duty, but they're also off duty, getting master's degrees and other furthering educational opportunities, which is fabulous. And this particular master's degree had an emphasis in government and policy. So, and as you get further up the chain of command, although a firefighter never stops being a firefighter, there are administrative duties and government duties that I'm sure this education will benefit our battalion chief. So I wanted to recognize James Dennis Miner. Also, want to also recognize two of our folks in the police department, crime analyst Kaylin Brown and Eileen Finley, graduated from the Florida Law Enforcement Analyst Academy, Class 40. This is administered by the Florida Department of Law Enforcement and provides training to analysts from across the state. Eileen and Caitlin attended training in Palm Beach County for 1 week a month for 6 straight months, and we're very proud of them achieving this and becoming certified crime analysts. So that's what's good on the staff. Next, we begin budget meetings with department heads starting on Monday. So I'm looking forward to that. We are putting together the budget. We have been putting together the budget, but we're getting down into where I will sit with department heads and they will defend their budgets to the city manager. And we'll go over that process. That begins next Monday. And a story from the new guy who moved here, hopefully on his last move, and my wife reminds me of, it's been 16 moves and this will be 17 and hopefully the last. A gentleman helped me today at the house while doing some things, and the gentleman said to me that he moved to Stuart some time ago, reluctantly, told the real estate agent, keep my car, or keep us on hold because we're probably going to sell this house in 2 years. That gentleman told me today that although he and his wife parted ways and she moved away, that he stayed, and he stayed for good. And he is a proud city resident of Stuart and thinks it's a fabulous place. And I think that too. And it just goes to show you what a great city we have, and we're going to make it even better. So thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. And thank you for upholding the transparency in the city of Stuart by letting the public know about the financial audit. To further touch base on transparency, we have a mayor's signatures log on the city website. So things that I sign administratively, they never used to come in front of this board until that was something that I pushed for. So things that I sign administratively, the public will become aware of those things. If you go on the city website, under city commissioners, at the bottom, there's a mayor's signature log to keep track of things. I also wanted to state, there's been 2 controversial agenda items that have come through this board through the last 2 meetings that have gone nowhere for the public. What I asked for from fellow board members, we have one on the agenda tonight regarding the chicken ordinance. Instead of letting things potentially die here tonight and maybe not move it to a second reading, if we could at least have a motion to table to a date certain to where we have that 5th board member so they could decide the future for the public instead of just letting things die here tonight. That's all I have to say for my comments. Can I get a motion for approval of the agenda?
Move approval of the agenda is published.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion for approval of the agenda from Commissioner Clark and seconded by Commissioner Giobi. Is there any public comment on this motion? Seeing no public comment, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Comments from the public on non-agenda items, please remember it's limited to 3 minutes.
Jeff Crosskoff?
Welcome, Jeff.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, Jeff Crosskoff, Stuart. There was an article in the paper where there was a 2-2 issue, if you will, and it was regarding the 2-acre parcel north on US 1 on the bridge and its ability to generate revenue as an offset to the costs of maintaining the Haney Creek watershed project. Rest assured, the public has already approved this. It really doesn't need to go out again. That was a very complex project that was put together and took a lot of effort. As architect of the project, I know your control rests in site plan approval. So that's a good thing. Environmental sensitivity was always first and foremost considered in that we put in there that there should be no gas stations that close to what we were trying to protect. The planning department file on this, with all the iterations in it, is it has quite a few. I don't know if you've looked at it or taken the time, but it there were a number of them in there to generate revenue, and that was not wrapped up. That was one of the things I was unable to wrap up before I retired. So I encourage you to move forward with the project, especially in light of what you mentioned, upcoming restraints that very well may pass in Florida, limiting revenue. And I know Milton has boardwalks in the area and maintenance to do, so you should never pass up the opportunity to lease property, not necessarily sell it. And I think there's a prohibition because the county was originally involved in this. That's where we cobbled half of the funds. And I'm happy to meet with each one of you individually to give you historical context or some of the constructive ideas that we had in order to gain revenue, not only there, but if there's anything else, I'll be happy to help you with that historical context. Thank you for your consideration. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jeff. I'll be reaching out as well.
Thank you.
Robert Mayons?
Welcome, Robert. Welcome.
Good afternoon. Robert Mayon, 4461 Southeast Federal Highway. I'm here today respectfully request a pause of the enforcement actions against my property. I've done business in Stuart for 26 years and care deeply about this city. Unfortunately, many attorneys, business owners, and residents are saying the city's current government processes are in disarray. My property has become a clear example. Staff obtained a special magistrate order with deadlines and fines based on incomplete and misleading information. At the hearing, key questions were referred to the city attorney but left unanswered. The special magistrate still issued the decision and order without those answers and relied on misinformation from staff. Weeks later, the city's own emails confirmed serious ambiguities in what rules actually apply to my property. The city cannot lawfully enforce regulations while its own legal counsel admits the regulatory groundwork is unclear. That is significant. In 2007, I helped the city annex the 25 overgrown acres to the south. That history cannot now be ignored, including the concessions, zoning history, prior allowed uses, decades of parking and storage, grandfathering, vested rights, equitable estoppel, and the city's own conduct over many years. These are not minor issues. They go to the heart of whether these enforcement actions are even valid. The same uncertainty affects the sign and sanitation demands. I am now being told I need a permit and a sign company just to change a copy on an existing, accepted, and grandfathered sign faces. Changes that I have made for two decades and that several local sign companies confirm have never been required for nearly 4 decades. Similarly, staff pushed aggressively for unnecessary recycling dumpster before backing off as if they were doing me a favor, when in reality it was a fabricated requirement. The city has no history of my garbage collection needs, so I offered a common-sense initial approach to establish service that does not waste the city's resources, my space, or money. These examples show why staff's demands need independent review before more costs and fines are imposed. I am not ignoring the city. My current approved compliance work proves my good faith. I've spent significant money, absorbed business interruptions, and worked 7 days a week to improve the property. I should not face daily fines, costly changes, or further business interruption while the city is still sorting out what lawfully applies and the consequences of unresolved problems in its own annexation process. Even now, staff has refused to answer legitimate written questions that would either clarify the city's position or expose the overly aggressive and misinformed assertions behind these violations. I respectfully ask that the current order, deadlines, and fines be placed on hold until the city issues a clear written determination of what lawfully applies to my property. That determination must address the annexation history, zoning status, allowed uses, BTR, sign authority, sanitation requirements, grandfather rights, the lawful limits of inspection, and the proper scope of enforcement. This is the fair and responsible path. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. I'm going to shoot you an email as well, just to follow up to get more information with you. And if Mike and Lee can look into this. And from what I understand, the magistrate board is the one that would be handling any code enforcement stuff as well, not necessarily this board majority. And Lee might be able to correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Yeah, correct. It's in the magistrate's hands, and you guys are not allowed to interject into that process. So the petition he's making, he needs to make it before the magistrate. And he's not been fined yet. He's been given time to get in compliance. And my understanding, he's done a good job at doing what all he can. If you want me to go into more details, I can.
I think the point, if I may, I think the point is that the special magistrate acted upon misinformation and lack of proper information. When Mr. Baggett was addressed by the special magistrate, he had no knowledge of the ambiguity that was actually occurring surrounding my property. So he referred to Ms. Kugler, who further led to more misinformation to the special magistrate, and he made his decision based on that misinformation. So I think that's my main beef.
Well, I appreciate your feedback, and hopefully the city can resolve this with you. Like I said, I'll follow up with an email just so I can follow along the process with you.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And I'd be happy to meet with anyone that individually or separately if so desired.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robert.
Alan Marcus.
Hello. What I'm about to talk to you about affects every sign in this town. I've been a sign contractor here for almost 36 years. I do work for the city, which I'm very grateful for. I do a lot of work for the city. I help write the codes for the city, Martin County and Port St. Lucie as a sign contractor. Many things in the current sign code needs to be updated. Things that are in the sign code shouldn't have been in there from the start. And they were acknowledged at the time saying that we'll get back to that. Well, I think this is the time to get that straightened out. But for the most pressing thing right now is face and copy changes. For over 34 years, no sign permit was needed. Last year, out of nowhere, we were told that you need a permit to change copy on a sign face at Piranha Pat's. We removed the sign face, stripped the old sign face from Frankenstein's, resprayed the back, put new copy on it, put it back in, and all of a sudden they said you need a permit. That came after over 34 years of not needing a permit out of nowhere. The code did not change. The interpretation by one person did. In Martin, St. Lucie, and Port St. Lucie, Sewell's Point, all do not require a permit. All the sign companies in town are not aware of this change. This is not a structural change whatsoever. I have probably installed over 500 signs in this town over 34 years. Are you going to go back to 500 places and start finding them? They started finding somebody I had to pull a permit for a couple weeks ago just to help him out because he was frantic. It cost him $600 for, actually over $1,000 for the permit. $600 in back fines. Like I said, in the past, we never needed a permit. Many issues come with this. It's not transparent. No sign companies are aware of this. The permit cost sometimes costs more than the actual copy change. We don't know if it is only for a wall sign, on monuments, or replacing old vinyl. Only a contractor like myself, which I'm state licensed, online can get a permit. If you're changing a copy, can I proceed?
3 minutes, sir.
Comments are limited to 3 minutes, but I do have something to say. It won't be a back and forth exchange necessarily, Alan, but my comments regarding this would be, I met with city staff, I met with Mike and Jody. My comments would be for this to come back as a discussion item based off the consensus from this board to get more information on how other municipalities operate and why it changed, and just have the discussion publicly.
Excuse me.
Hang on one sec, Alan. We're not going to go back and forth with public comment, but I just wanted to see where the commissioners were, if they wanted this back as a discussion, a D&D item for us to give a consensus to the city manager to bring it back.
Just one thing to say.
Hang on, Alan.
Just, he's getting consent. I think it's certainly important. to
Commissioner
do
Ridge?
that.
Sure, I would like the city manager, however, to look into this initially, and
Okay, yeah. and
perhaps
he'll-
he can resolve it.
Correct. So I believe there's been discussion and meetings with the public comment and city manager and potentially city attorney.
There's a real easy solution.
Hang on, Alan.
As long as we, city attorney and city manager can talk with development director, that's administrative things, and we just need to make sure that staff has the opportunity to use their, whatever power administrative rule they have to do that. And then if there's something that needs to be changed, I know we're going to be working on the comprehensive plan and adding some things, and I did talk to Mr. Marcos, so I just let city manager work with it, and if we need to have a discussion, deliberation, let it come back to us.
Okay, so do you guys want to wait then? It sounds like 2 of us support it and 2 might not. They want staff to figure it out if they need us.
Yeah. There might be any regulation change, so.
Yes, Commissioner Giove.
Yes, I agree that staff should look at it, but I think that we should have the right to deliberate once we have the information, because this is one individual who knows, but the rest of the community may not know how that code affects them.
If we need to change or do something to the code, yeah, well,
Real simple solution.
So Alan, I understand you're trying to provide comment back and forth, but your 3 minutes were up, and I was trying to get a consensus from the board. You can see 2 of us support it coming back as a D&D item, the other 2 do not. I need board
not
majority,
true,
I believe,
Mr.
for a
Mayor.
consensus. They want staff to talk about it if they need us.
I'm
then it'll
into
come back as an item.
solutions.
So,
I like solutions.
I understand. But your
just
public comments for 3 minutes, though, Alan, I'm sorry.
Let me just say it. Let me just say it.
Commissioner Giove?
I was just going to suggest to the gentleman that he can send his solution via email.
Thanks, Alan. We have more.
Suzette, I'm sorry, did did he fill out a card?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Next, I
Alan.
have Bob Zacchio.
Welcome, Bob.
I was just about to go sit back down again.
Sorry, I hope everything's okay.
We jump it up and down.
I just, I'll keep it brief and definitely in the positive for sure. I just want to say thank you to the commissioners, mayor, all of you that have come out, seen Project Lift, been involved in the community programming and the community engagements that we're doing. For the record, Bob Zacchio, CEO of Project Lift, and certainly very impressed with the the city staff. Certainly, I know some of us are in the crowd that are working on this project over in East Stewart. But I just wanted to say thank you to the commission for all the hard work that they put into it, and the support they've given. Also, making a shout out to Pinal for her steadfast work that she's put in over this past couple months, and Lee as well. Thank you so much, sir, for all the work of going back and forth and making sure that this is a good project. Also, extending a warm welcome to Michael Giardino. Right? Did I get it? Giardino. Nice to, and welcome to Stuart. I hope you stay longer than, and no divorces or anything like that end up in it. So, but we're glad to have you. We're glad to have you. Welcome. I welcome the opportunity to come see you or come meet you when the time is right, and certainly the rest of the commission. But again, thank you all very much. The project is moving forward really, really well. And again, hats off to the city staff for all the work that they've put into this and the changes that they've had to go through over the past year or two to be able to still move projects forward is awesome. So
Thank you.
That's all I got. Yep.
Thank you, Bob. I hope all's well.
Grand opening, Bob?
Brando, I just was asked, I
September,
think Jim just asked me the same thing. We're hoping for in the November time. We're looking for program launches first quarter of 2027. Proctor Construction is doing a great job, by the way.
Thank you.
And also the CDBG grant manager, I think it's Guardian, doing a great job too, staying in touch with everything that we do. I know that there's been some pieces to that in the past that I think are important to know that we got a good one in there. So we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Next, I have Reginald Floyd.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. I have a partner who's also going to be making this presentation. I'm Reginald Floyd with the Genesis Group 1906, and Mr. David Myers, who's the president of this group also. He's going to also be assisting in the presentation this afternoon. Thank you.
To the mayor and to the commissioners, we appreciate and thank you. We've humbly submitted our opportunity to speak. We represent Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. We're the oldest existing Greek letter fraternity for African Americans. We plan on bringing a chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated to Martin County. Our fraternity believes in manly deeds, scholarship, and love of all mankind. Some of the programs that we happen to support as a fraternity are March of Dimes, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Go to High School, Go to College, and a voteless people is a hopeless people. Part of that is one of the things that we'd like to ask is a letter of support from city welcoming us to come in and continue our mentoring program. Our mentoring program is called EGO. EGO stands for the Educated Gentlemen Organization. Historically, we've served some 270 young men. Those young men that once they're in our program, we have an 84% completion rate of our program. We have a 100% participant graduation rate if they stay throughout the 12th grade. We have a 100% all participants receive scholarships. We have a 77% those that are in our program are accepted to colleges and universities, and we have a 82% rate of those that were in our program that went on to college go on to receive college degrees, either AA, bachelor's, or going down the line. We've had participants from go on to Florida A&M, Bethune-Cookman, Alabama State, Tuskegee, Clafton, Valdosta, Florida Atlantic, Florida International, University of Miami, Full Sail, Emory-Riddle, University of Florida, University of South Florida, University of Central Florida, University of Massachusetts, Indian River State College, St. Augustine, Clifton, and several others. Mayor, commissioners, we come in humbly wanting to help. We want to work with young people, and we'd love to have a letter of support from you, from the commissioners, welcoming us to come in and lend a hand. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. So to the board, I was the one that instructed the clerk's office to send Mr. Lloyd an email back to instruct them to provide public comment, asking for a letter of support to get a board consensus.
No problem.
No problem.
What age group do they work? Could we just get a little more specific?
You can, so you can ask them for clarification purposes during public comment, or it could come back as a D&D item. But it's up
Yeah,
to
I'd
you.
just like a little more, I would fully anticipating supporting
Young man.
their efforts. I'd just like a little more specificity as to what age groups. And
You can ask them while they're here, or
I thought you didn't want to do back and forth during public comment.
you can ask questions for clarification. So yes, I will allow that.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So what age group of young men do you work with?
The- The young men in our program, we accept them as early as the 8th grade all the way through the 12th grade, basically 13 to 18.
Okay, I was just approached by an individual who was expressing frustration that we weren't reaching out to this specific age group and how dire the need is and how much impact you can have. So I'm delighted to hear that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
No problem.
I have no problem.
All right, so you have your consensus for a letter of support to the city manager? Perfect, thank you.
Next, I have Mark Brechville.
Welcome, Mark. You're welcome.
Mark Breckville, 406 Southeast Finney Drive, Stuart, Florida, 34996. And I'm glad I ended up coming today because it turned out what I wanted to mention. I was glad Jeff Crosskoff came in because what I was going to suggest is that we're all going to be facing budget, I think some budget constraints coming up. And, we have a lot of money that's in the CRA and not any money hardly that's in the general fund. And what I'm asking is that we take a look, whether we bring somebody in to help us with it, but we take a look at ways that we might be able to redirect services to the CRA, that they could be funded by CRA money instead of having that money come out of city pockets. For example, and I'm not saying that, if we had a park that was in the CRA and that park was supported for the CRA, now other residents can use that park, right? But that would, I would think, and that's why I say we may need to bring somebody in, would be the potential to fund that out of CRA. And we hear these big projects, and those big projects, the taxes they're paying, well, let's get some of their money in helping out city residents. So there's things like that I think that, for example, in fund accounting, you can have personnel, and that personnel can be funded out of that fund. So, I think looking at who's doing what and how much of that maybe is concentrated for CRA instead of just the city. We may be doing an allocation, we may need to do actual people, but just to take a look at that. And I think that, since Jeff was here, maybe he'd be willing to, as many of you know, he was always kind of our go-to guy on budget and for years. But I just think it's something that we should look at as a way to potentially, and I don't know if this would qualify or not, but I'll give you one other example. The fire station that's over on MLK, right? That station has to have certain types of equipment. It has to be in a certain location because of something that Collier once told me called conflagration or something. So conflagration means that the downtown will burn instantaneously. That's what it means. That anything that's much further out than that, the downtown area is vulnerable to that type of thing because of how they're built, how it's constructed, what's there. So if that's the case, that's a CRA activity. So if we have to have equipment and items there because of this, I think there's an opportunity there to move the funding with it. Anyway, so those are just some suggestions I wanted to make. And then the other thing is, since Bob was here, his project, and what they do is great. And There's a serious suicide problem going on right now in the middle school to high
Thank
school.
you, sir.
So take a look at that. We may need to do something.
Thank you.
Thank you as
Thank
always,
you.
Mark.
Sherry White.
Welcome, Sherry.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Just want to comment on the gentleman who was speaking from the sign company. Being a former Planning and Zoning Board member for the city of Port St. Lucie, I was one of the persons that went through the whole sign code, and the Planning and Zoning Board was instrumental in looking at that code, so if that helps any. Thank you.
again for your comments.
I have no further public comment, Mayor.
All right, seeing no further public comment, we're going to move on to approval of the consent calendar.
Move approval of the consent calendar.
Second.
So we have a motion for approval of the consent calendar from Commissioner Rich, seconded by Commissioner Clark. Are there any public comments on this motion? Seeing none, Mary, roll call.
Commissioner Clark?
Yes.
Commissioner Rich?
Yes?
Commissioner Giobi?
Yes.
Mayor Reed?
Yes, motion passes unanimously. Moving on to commission action. Agenda item 8. Lee, if you could read that for us.
Resolution number 41-2026, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Stuart, Florida, authorizing the City of Stuart Police Department to provide services to the Martin County School Board for teaching the Phoenix curriculum at Spectrum Academy, J.D. Parker Elementary School, and any other Martin County school within the city requesting the curriculum, authorizing the mayor to execute the attached interlocal agreement between Martin County School Board and the City of Stuart for the Stuart Police Department Youth Crime Prevention Intervention Program, providing for an effective date and for other purposes.
Chief, you had some comments on it?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. Commissioners, this was placed on the commission for commission action. It was probably better suited for the consent agenda. This is a ILA that has been in place for almost 9 years prior to this renewal. And the Phoenix curriculum is a curriculum that our crime prevention intervention specialist, our youth, she's a youth counselor, Kathleen Lannon, who's been with the City of Stuart for 26 years. She teaches this program. She's certified to teach it and has been cooperatively teaching it at the school at J.D. Parker and at Spectrum this past school year. Prior to that, she was teaching it at the East Stuart Youth Initiative, the after-school program that was later rolled into the Boys and Girls Club. However, the school board and Kathleen are just looking to expand opportunity to allow her to teach this in other schools to 4th and 5th graders and up as a deterrent to gang and drug activity in the community. It's a very past-proven, effective program. She teaches it 1 hour once a week for 6 weeks in the schools, and she can do different grades throughout the school year. So this past school year, she taught it to about approximately 170 children, and is continuing to expand to other schools, or looking to expand. So this would just allow us to clean up some language in the prior ILA and allow her to teach if other schools in the district, especially the ones in the city, would like her to come teach that to the youth for a, to better educate them on these areas.
Question, Chief. With this ILA, this is just us authorizing us, Stuart Police Department, to work with the Martin County School District for the curriculum implementation, I guess?
Yes, Mayor, and if the schools request through Mr. Maine, through the school district, that they would like Kathleen Lannon to come teach this curriculum, she'll expand it to other schools, but she is currently teaching it at J.D. Parker and Spectrum.
Okay. Does the school district pay for the curriculum, or is it Stuart Police Department, or is it collaboration?
Yeah, so there's no money that exchanges hands. It's a very, she learned and has the curriculum. There isn't much cost associated with it other than providing her as the subject matter expert to be able to teach it for the 1 hour increments over the 6-week period of time.
Okay. Commissioner Giovi?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to accept Resolution 41, 2026, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Stuart, Florida, authorizing the City of Stuart Police Department to provide services to the Martin County School Board for teaching the Phoenix curriculum at Spectrum Academy.
Second.
We have a motion for resolution number 41, 2026 by Commissioner Giobi and seconded by Commissioner Clark. Are there any public comments on this motion? Seeing none. Mary, roll call.
Mayor Reed,
Yes?
Commissioner Clark,
Yes.
Commissioner Rich,
Yes.
Commissioner Giobi.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to, Lee, do I have to read this second reading if it has a date certain?
No, so we put it in place just for advertising purposes, so we don't incur more advertising costs. Since it was continued to a date certain and announced at the last meeting that this item came up, and it was to a date certain, the next agenda, the next regular commission, we don't have to read it.
Okay. All right, so moving on to ordinance first reading regarding backyard chickens in residential zoning districts. Lee, if you could read that.
Sure.
Ordinance.
Ordinance number 2552-2026, an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Stuart, Florida, amending the city's Land Development Code, Chapter 2, zoning districts, uses allowed, density, intensity, Section 2.06.00, supplemental use standards to add a new Section 2.06.24, backyard chickens in certain residential zoning districts, and to amend the city's Code of Ordinances, Chapter 8-Animals, Article 1, in general, Section 8.2, livestock prohibited in the Stewart's Code of Ordinances by removing certain provisions related to allow backyard chickens in certain residential zoning districts, providing for the repeal of prior ordinances and resolutions in conflict, providing for codification, providing for severability, providing for an effective date, and for other purposes.
Thanks, Lee.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Jody Kugler with the Development Department. Just to give you a little bit of background, on February 23rd, 2026, the City Commission directed staff to prepare the necessary ordinance to allow backyard chickens within certain residential districts. The City Commission recognizes a growing trend towards sustainable living practices, including the desire to incorporate fresher, locally sourced products into daily diets. Additionally, there is an increasing interest in providing residents with opportunities to engage in a small-scale backyard food production. Allowing a limited number of chickens on residential properties supports these objectives by enabling property owners to produce eggs for personal consumption. The proposed amendment would permit the keeping of up to 4 chickens as an accessory use on an occupied, detached, single-family, and duplex properties within the R1A, R1, R2, urban neighborhood, and single-family detached zoning districts within the East Stewart neighborhood. The use would be subject to the terms and conditions outlined in the attached draft ordinance. This item was heard at the CRB on May 5th, 2025. The CRB held a public hearing and recommended approval to the City Commission with the following amendment recommendations. Consider a hedge in lieu of a fence, increase the height of a chicken coop to 7 feet, and consider a 5-foot fence in lieu of a 6-foot fence. This item was also taken to the local planning agency on May 14, 2025, where the LPA held a public hearing and recommended approval for the City Commission with the caveat that the City Commission considered an annual fee in lieu of a permit of $65. And additionally, the LPA recommended a yearly license renewal fee of $10.
Thank you, Jody.
I'm sorry, this concludes staff representation.
Oh, thank you. Commissioner Giobi.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to move ordinance 2552, 2026 to the second reading.
Seconded for discussion.
Was it seconded by, okay. So we have ordinance number 2552, 2026. A motion was made by Commissioner Giobi to move it to second reading and seconded by Commissioner Clark. Are there any public comments on this motion?
Yes, I have a comment. Samantha Smith.
Welcome, Samantha.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I'll keep it brief because you have the letter in your email. I am
Yes,
one of the
thank you.
constituents that's reached out to you. I'm sure there were probably a few more.
Yes.
took some personal time today to be here. Unfortunately, the timing's a little tough, so you might not see too many more supporters in the audience. But I just want to say that this was a concerted and organized grassroots effort to get something put in front of you that balances both private property rights and public health and safety concerns. It allows for people to connect with their food, to have a sense of sustenance and also achievement in raising these animals. And the concerns that most folks have are not much different than concerns you might have with managing your own pets or kept pets. I do think that the city of Stuart has wonderful constituents and residents, and I do have full faith in folks to responsibly manage their households as well as the things that they choose to do in their backyards. And through this program, there is good balance. We have some skin in the game. We're asking for a registration fee of $65 and then an annual renewal fee of $10. So when we talk about cost cutting, this is actually a way to generate revenue in some cases. If there are 8,060 residences in City of Stuart that qualify for this program with an initial registration fee of $65, that is $523,900 at initial registration. With an annual rollover of $10,000 a household, that's another $80,000. Even if you cut that in half, those are still attractive numbers. That's $250,000 and then an additional $40K a year. So I think that this is balanced. It addresses everybody's concerns. It provides for recourse. It provides for responsible management. And I would just appreciate it if you would consider all information when you make your decision, if this does make it to second reading. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Samantha.
So that was all the public comments. Do any of the board members have any comments for staff?
Oh, I have to
Commissioner
go on my
Rich?
lights.
Yeah, it didn't take long for this ordinance to go off the rails here with the language. So attached at the very end of this agenda item was, on page 187, was a University of Florida Institute of Food and Agricultural Sciences article exploring the possibilities of backyard chickens locally. If you go to the last 3 pages of that, 2 or 3 pages, there's lots of links, and I started clicking all those links and reading those articles, and I came upon one that at the end, near the end rather, and it's titled Raising Backyard Chickens for Eggs from the University of Florida IFAS Extension. And it talks about, it says, give a hoot, don't pollute. Do not store waste or compost in proximity to water bodies and consider the effect of runoff from your coop. Chicken manure is rich in nitrogen and phosphorus, nutrients that can lead to excessive plant and algae growth in water. As microbes decompose the increased organic matter, they can deplete the available oxygen in the water, leading to fish kills. Florida has many water bodies considered impaired due to excessive nutrients. Runoff containing waste from your chickens can contribute to pollution. It says in our comprehensive plan, which is cited in the very first item in the ordinance, policy 5.A2.5, no activity shall be permitted which would adversely affect the quantity or quality of recharge entering the city's aquifers or within the city's watershed basins. We simply cannot do this according to the comp plan. There is no survey of water bodies in this ordinance. There's no survey of homes that may potentially be too close to those water bodies and should be excluded. If you look at Fraser Creek and Poppleton Creeks, there are homes all along that. We're going to hopefully receive a substantial grant and spend quite a bit of money to clean up Poppleton Creek. If we have coops polluting it right above it, what's the point? This ordinance is premature and should not be considered at this time unless we pay much closer attention to our responsibility under not polluting our own waters. For the municipality, that is the only environmental attorney dedicated solely to holding all others to runoff requirements, we should hold ourselves to the highest standards. And this is just, I find it unacceptable that we've overlooked this obligation under the comprehensive plan.
For clarification for staff, is staff comfortable addressing Commissioner Rich's comments, or would that be addressed at the second reading? 'Cause it's
Mayor
quite a
Reed,
bit.
if staff can address this at the second reading, there is ways to manage the waste. So there is things that you can buy on Amazon that does have a waste contraptment that are made for chickens. So there is ways that we could look at it to where they would have to manage that waste. Also, they can compost it as well, which is, most people do compost a lot of the chicken waste and use it for their plants. It is a very good nutrients for the plants. So there's a lot of that, and those are the part of the process that if this was to go forward, that the city staff would educate anybody who comes in for our permitting, show them what they can do as far as keeping the waste within the runoffs within their confined area. We can certainly draft some language in there as well. So there is opportunities if you're close to an inlet or next to a storm drainage, that we can provide them some information or some things that they would have to obtain.
And also for historical purposes, this ordinance passed back in 2017. Is this the original language from that ordinance as well, and it hasn't been amended?
Mayor Reed, that ordinance was not part, this was drafted strictly through the attorney, Baggett. And we did not go back to the original language. But there is a lot of information out there that when you're writing these chicken ordinances, of what you want to make sure that's captured in there. Again, I am very familiar with writing chicken ordinances. I'm not an expert, but I did work for St. Lucie County at the time, and we did adopt a chicken, backyard chicken, and it was very successful. There were still people obtaining permits, and their staff is a little bit larger than ours, but if there is an issue, our code enforcement will be knowledgeable, and also our department will be knowledgeable of what we're looking for and what would be anything that's proactive or reactive.
Awesome. Thank you, Jody. Commissioner Clark, you had your light on?
Oh, you had yours on.
You had her first.
Yeah.
Okay, good, thanks.
Yep.
So, I grew up with chickens, so I know them, but I was in a rural area. And I love chickens, and I agree with them, but my main concerns were, of course, any type of pollution or any lack of responsibility from a homeowner. So I did talk to our
Environmental
Ruth
attorney.
Holmes, or I just want to make sure our Ruth Holmes, our attorney, and we talked about the possibility of any type of language with regard to distance from waterways. I know when we had the urban ground floor farms, which was a urban district of agriculture, or what, I don't know what the actual use is. Yeah, and it was right by Fraser Creek, right, or Bruno Pond and Fraser Creek, all the same difference. One flows into the other. But they were right there, but they had very strict guidelines how they were going to control any type of waste that came down, or if it even came to the actual earth, it was a way to collect it before it got to the earth, so that nothing seeped into the earth and got washed away during rains and so on. So there was guidelines for that, and that's a good example that it was there beside a water body or a couple of water bodies that converge into each other. But when we have residents who we're not watching, and that was a very special land use, and that was a very special project and business that they had in that location, and so they were watched carefully. We just want to make sure, I know that the fee, the $50 or $60 fee and the $10, whatever the number of the fee is, and doing it every year, but whatever it is that we have to do to make sure that people control it. And I had some people who actually came to the last meeting, but we didn't discuss it. I don't see them here today. And I know that there are people in Stuart who have chickens now, even though it's not allowed, but I wanted our environmental attorney to look at some other, to see if anybody in the Treasure Coast, which are municipalities, not rural areas or within the county, but anything that's within a municipality, and especially a municipality that has creek, rivers, or any type of water bodies, if there were any descriptions, and I'm glad that Commissioner Rich brought up the University of Florida guidelines, but it's a no-brainer that we have to look at these things and make sure that we're careful. And if it's going to be burdensome on us, and if we're not setting the right example, or if we're not getting the bar high enough, I think we need to make sure that by another reading, that there's enough outreach and information from our environmental attorney that gives us some clear guidelines, because we know that if we do this, we're going to be the example that a lot of probably other small cities along the coast look at, and we're going to be the one that has it. I couldn't find anybody. I found Okeechobee and St. Lucie. They're all counties. I didn't find any of our cities along the East Coast that had chickens, but maybe I didn't look hard enough. But I just want to make sure that we have everything from our environmental attorney, and if we need to add those guidelines and distances and details as to disposal and additional fines or anything like that, I want to make sure that's in there.
Does that conclude your comments?
Yeah, for right now.
Commissioner Giovi?
Right, I'd like to make a motion to move this to the first reading to August 18th, and second reading in the beginning, first meeting in September.
I'm not going to be August 18th. Are we going to meet on the?
Well, August 18th, we would have a full.
Oh, you made the motion.
Is
You'd
it a
like to amend your
Tuesday?
motion.
Or is it the 17th? I don't know.
Well, to the second meeting in August.
Yeah, make it the second meeting in August. But
Well, it would
why are
be-
we rushing, though? Why don't we just wait until, if we have new people here, they can
They will
always.
be here August 18th. I believe that's the date.
August
We would have
18th
our-
is
I had
election
some other
day, it's a
comments that I
Tuesday.
wanted to
Okay, sure.
contribute.
It's an election day.
I'm sorry, then what is the?
August
I'm sorry,
17th,
the
so it would be the
17th.
second week meeting in
No.
August.
August
It would be the
24th is
first
the
meeting
commission
after election.
Yes, it'll be the second meeting in August.
Commissioner Rich, you had comment?
Yeah, I still think we're going to have to amend the comp plan, which is not a big deal, folks, because we have to amend the comp plan. We still haven't amended the comp plan since the second zip, and we've changed those ordinances, and they're actually going to expire because we've waited so long, so. So to include this, I appreciate Commissioner Giobi making the amendment, because I'm very discouraged that the staff made no recognition of the obligation of this city to protect its water. I don't understand how that happened. So to me, you should have to start all over again. And there's nothing wrong with, getting a survey. It may turn out like the pond that's over by the Audubon Park there, that's surrounded by
Hospital
homes.
Pond.
You might, 10 chicken coops may create too much of a load. We haven't done any of that assessment. We've shown no, I'm very upset that we ignored our responsibility to adhere to one of our most important comp plan policies. So I would like the city to start all over again, do much more comprehensive analysis. There's nothing in here about rats. I don't know about you, but there's rat problems in my neighborhood, and there's nothing talking, and these do attract rats, and you need a whole different type of fencing. You need a whole different type of compost protection. You need a whole different type of bagging of the waste. It's not to say it can't be done, but it needs to be done right, and there is no hurry at all here. Those are my comments.
Thank you, Commissioner Rich. My comments are, I have full faith in the homeowners to take care of their own property. I don't, sitting up here, my job's not to police law-abiding citizens that can follow common sense rules. That's something that's taught from your parents. Jody, are you able to show us on the GIS map where you would be able to even have chickens based off of how the ordinance is written now? Because I believe it's not.
Pull it up for you.
Yeah, no worries. And as far as the comp plan, was that with language in there the first time the ordinance passed for a week in the city back in 2017? And I know it's a lot.
Mayor Reed, I don't have that answer for you
Which
today,
is
but
fine.
I can get that answer for you.
Okay. My other comments would be, as far as in the ordinance, I think the coop height should be higher than 6 foot. Some people that are taller than I'm 6 foot myself, so you're gonna duck going into a chicken coop. I think it should be 7 foot, in my opinion, and there's people even taller than myself that might want chickens. As far as property value, I think that might be negated. You can look at Key West and the Keys. I don't think it affects their property values one bit. I can't afford a house down there, but I can afford one in the city of Stuart. As far as a rodent issue, would this potentially attribute to more? I don't know. There's rats in downtown Stuart currently, and there's no chickens.
There are chickens.
You see some homeowners in multifamily, they have dogs. I'm not sure where they walk their dogs. So I think for homeowners, they have a backyard, they should be able to use it how they feel necessary. And hopefully staff can answer all the questions and concerns that we have as board members. As far as rushing something, I've seen things done much faster in the city, even prior to myself getting here. I don't think anything from this ordinance is being rushed. It was voted on and approved back in 2017 and rescinded after a week. There's still property owners that probably still currently have chickens in the city and the county, and they might be out of compliance, but, you know, I don't get calls about that. I don't know about staff if they can attest to that for homeowners, unless your neighbor's calling on you. But this is property rights, and I think the city deserves it.
So if you see the gold colors, that is your R1. Your R1A is your yellow properties,
And did you filter out the GIS for where you're allowed, where, based off of how the ordinance is written now, where they would be able to be, Jody?
I would have to go through the other side. If I could do that and
Okay,
provide
at the
that
with the-
information to you,
with the second
just to
reading.
show those locations of where those, this proposed ordinance. So one of the other things too, when we bring this back, you could even look at a pilot program. I know a lot of places started out with pilot programs. So that's something you may want to, if this is something that you want to test before you actually move forward with this type of ordinance, you can also do a pilot program for a year. A lot of places have done that in the beginning, so it's just something I can bring back both options, just so you can look at that as well.
So when you say like the pilot program, Jody, it would be an ordinance that would sunshine out after a year, or it'd be renewed?
It would be sunshined out, and it could be a year, 2 years, but it would be something to, then we can collect the data that Commissioner Rich is referring to. But there is other options that we could do, but I can bring back both, so you can look at those as well.
Okay.
If that's something the board would be inclined,
Yeah.
wanting to hear.
And my statement to the board would be, this is what we do up here. We set policy. So the questions and concerns that we have, they don't have to be resolved in first reading, second reading. You can ask for a third, fourth, fifth, sixth reading, so nothing is quote-unquote rushed. So any questions or concerns you have, I would ask them now for staff, and then when it comes back at second reading, I know there is a motion, and Commissioner Giove, you're talking about potentially amending your motion to a date certain. My suggestion would be to go from first reading to second reading and see if we can get these concerns addressed that the board has currently brought up for staff. And if they get addressed, then we decide what we want to do. If there's more new concerns that are brought up at second reading, you can always ask for a third reading. So like I said, it's not rushed. as some like to say. Commissioner Clark, you have a comment?
Whatever region we go to, we should at least have, I don't know, Mr. Kralski or somebody, our city manager, put a little blurb somewhere in one of our newsletters so that people know that this is being considered. It's not just the people who are interested in chickens, but everybody needs to know that we have more time to get comments and invite people to learn more. And I'd also like to ask just to come up, just to say, even if it's just hello, but I just want to make sure that we have the ears of our environmental attorney, Ruth Holmes. So I did talk to her earlier. Yeah.
Hey, Ruth.
Hi, Ruth. Thank you, Commissioners. Commissioner Clark and I did speak this afternoon a little bit about the ordinance and in ways that it could be improved upon. And, you know, to Commissioner Rich's comments, you know, those are valid comments he's making. But, you know, also the state of Florida has developed very sophisticated stormwater rules over the years. And, you know, a lot of these types of, you know, real industrial polluters or commercial polluters are required to keep their stormwater on site. And there could be some ways that we could apply those types of principles to this type of ordinance. But I do think that, you know, looking into what other communities have done, sometimes we don't have to create the wheel ourselves. Other communities that may have sought out or have in-house expertise in raising chickens. I don't know that that's true, but it could be true, and it's something that we could apply. But we definitely don't want it to affect the waterways. You know, there are setback requirements in the language that the existing language that's meant for, you know, to keep it from being a nuisance to your neighbors. Same thing could be said for required setbacks for ditches and waterways.
They are different for what if you're next to a water body.
Right.
They should be.
Yeah, that's right. They should be. And so we need to think about that. So, you know, the city of Stuart is also a stakeholder in the Basin Management Action Plan, right? And we don't want something like this to affect our very good score right now. So maybe if we do a bang up job and have some really good requirements that really aren't intended to burden the homeowner, but the property owner, but what they're intended to do is make sure that the property owner's actions don't have unintended consequences on the city, on the waters, on the neighbors, things like that. So there's a lot that we could do, and maybe we could get more credit in our Basin Management Action Plan going forward if we were to do something. Just a thought.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ruth. And this might be for staff. Has Rivers Coalition, has it ever been presented at their body before? They might be a good resource to reach out to as well, and maybe even find out if chicken poop versus dog or cat poop is more nutrient rich, because there's homeowners that have dogs that don't clean up their dog poop. So does that attribute to the nutrient rich river as well, I guess? It's like, where do you draw the line on what people can have on their own property as far as animals or whatnot? Like I said, it goes back to common sense and having full faith in homeowners. Any other board members have any comments or questions for staff? Any public comment?
You already asked for public comment.
Sure, but, yep, you got to come to the mic.
The way that is being presented seems like everybody and their grandmother's going to have chickens and we're going to have a poopy state, and I don't understand that. You're just saying okay to somebody that wants to produce their own food and take care of, and limited the numbers. It's not going to be 400 chickens consume, you know, that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, I appreciate it. There was one other thing too. I saw a comment in my research. I know in the ordinance currently as it's written, they wanted a number of 4 maximum. I read where 6 maximum was better, I guess, for the chickens.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So that'd be a nice number to hit then too.
Some have 5. I think in Okeechobee or somewhere they have 5 for them.
So we have a motion from Commissioner Giobi to move it.
Wanted
One more
make some
person wants to.
comments.
Oh, hang on. Yes, Missy, you have a comment. Sorry, it's a slow night. I have no problem with public comment. We
No, no,
work
no,
for you.
I don't either. That's why they're here.
Thank you. I am a gardener. I have a vegetable garden. I have to pay $25 for chicken manure that you dilute to fertilize your plants. I have tomatoes this big. I just want to tell you that it's gold. The manure is gold. It is not trash. It's not going to go into the system. Trust me. And I just want to say, I was here. What year was the first voted on?
2017.
2017. It was approved, the first. So I just want to say that it's a win-win. So thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Commissioner Giobi, you had a comment? Your
Yeah,
light's on?
well, I just wanted to amend my motion. Okay, based on the conversation that all of the commissioners had, input from our environmental attorney, Ms. Holmes, I'd like to move this forward to the second reading, but at the second reading, as the mayor stated, we can do a third and fourth reading, have a lot of this information available, and that we can then make a decision then.
August, you're saying.
Well, no, I'm saying, I'd like to amend it to say, I'd like to move it now to the second reading, okay?
That was your original motion.
That's the original
So-
motion,
so
but I wanted to
Okay,
say.
just for, can you have a third and fourth reading, Mr. Baggett?
Well, technically, it could be a third and fourth, but it would still be the second reading. If you want to continue the second reading, you can continue the conversation to the next meeting if you'd like.
So you wouldn't have a discussion, you would just agree to,
Yeah, you're not done, and,
sort of like what we did on the prior motion. You
I
just
mean-
say, we're,
right, I mean, let's say we're having an exhaustive discussion, you guys have a lot of still questions out there the staff can't answer, and we've gone for 3 or 4 hours, you can say, let's just continue this to the next agenda meeting, and then it's the second reading, it's just continued. But you don't call it third, fourth, because the statute just requires the
It's
first.
continuously called the second reading? Okay. Thank you for clarification.
So the current motion is to move this to second reading, so it wouldn't need amended unless you were doing a date certain, but this would come
No.
at the next city meeting at the end of this month, or would it be in?
Next city meeting, second reading.
No, you're wanting to have second reading, I thought you were talking about August is what you were talking about.
Originally, I was going to make a sub-menu since we hadn't voted.
So the-
But I think that with all of the commissioners' input and with the environmental attorney, I think for the second reading, we certainly could have the information that Commissioner Rich, Commissioner Clark, and the mayor and myself
Don't
would
have it
like.
by
So I'd like to
Wednesday.
be able to move this on to the second reading.
Which would be the
The
meeting at
next-
the end of this month?
Yes.
Correct?
But, I mean, that's at your
That's
desire. I'm-
that's how I interpret the motion,
Mm-hmm.
to move it to second reading, and hopefully all of our concerns can get answered.
So
like-
was that your original motion, Commissioner
Yeah,
Giuliani?
that's
Yes, it was.
Okay, so,
I
all
thought
right.
I would have to amend it in the sense of saying we'd need all that information at the second reading, but I'm sure that the staff will have that.
Okay.
Yep, so
Thank you.
to restate the motion,
Sure.
it's ordinance number 2552, 2026. There was a motion by Commissioner Giobi to move it to second reading, and it was seconded by Commissioner Clark. So hopefully all of our concerns will be addressed at the second reading. And like I stated, if there's any more concerns, we can always move it to another reading, and hopefully we can get everything addressed. But that's the current motion. But seeing no further discussion, Mary, roll call?
Commissioner Giobi?
Yes.
Hold on one second.
Oh, sorry.
Was it seconded?
It was.
Yes.
Okay, all right, okay.
Commissioner Clark?
Commissioner Clark seconded.
So Commissioner Giobi?
Yes.
Commissioner Clark?
Yes.
Commissioner Rich?
No.
Mayor Reed?
Absolutely, yes. Motion passes with Commissioner Rich dissenting.
Sentin.
You can descend off of the, no.
Seeing no, is there any further discussion or deliberation from this board? I'm going to adjourn this meeting then.
Thank you, sir.